everyone, and welcome to my September wrap up part 2. Part 1 I'll link down below. I'm going to get straight into it and show you what else I've read. Laura Wilson's The Other Woman. It's a thriller. I don't read them at all because I find them incredibly predictable. This is very predictable but also really good. So it's about a woman who has a perfect life, perfect husband, perfect kids, and every year she writes out a Christmas card to loads of different people who she doesn't know a lot of them. She owns a shop and sends it out to loads of people, talking about her children's achievements and what great holidays they've been on, and really boasting about her life. And every year someone writes back on her Christmas card, "You smug bitch," like all this kind of hatefulness, and it's like you rub it in people's faces. And so one year, this year in question, someone writes back on her Christmas card, "You're a smug bitch and I'm going to take everything from you because your husband is having an affair with me." So this starts very early on, this isn't a spoiler, and the book is her trying to work out who on the list of people she's sent Christmas cards out to is having an affair with her husband, because she can work it out, she can just detract people from that list. It turns into kind of a Lifetime movie, so very predictable, very fantastical and unrealistic, but I couldn't put it down. I had this in my hand the whole time. I had it in my bag everywhere that I went. It was exciting, it was fun. She obviously goes to the wrong conclusions and then she has to try someone else. And it's very realistic as well. So she's saying, me and my husband have been married for a very long time. I do love him, but more than that, I don't want to lose my lifestyle. So I want to work out who is having an affair with him, because when she was a child, her and her mum didn't have a lot of money, and she's like, I want to keep this beautiful house and this perfect life. I don't want this to go, so I need to find this woman, confront her, tell her to stay away from my husband. And this is the quest in the book that happens, and then something completely fantastical, Lifetime movie-esque happens, and you just go with it and it's fine. I needed it to be longer, and as you can see, this isn't a very short book, but I needed more at the end. I feel like it didn't have enough to it. I could see this as a 3-part TV drama. I honestly could. I enjoyed it. If you like thrillers, you're looking for something, you're not really going to think about it again, but at the time you can't get it out of your hand, this is perfect for you. So I did enjoy that one. Next up is non-fiction, and oh my god. It's Trump and Me by Mark Singer. Now Mark Singer has been a journalist for the New Yorker for many years, and in 1996 the New Yorker said to him, "We want you to go and meet Donald Trump and do a one-on-one piece on him and what you think of him." So Mark met Donald and hated him from the get-go. So his one-on-one piece wasn't very complimentary. Donald didn't like it, and then Mark did a book all about character profiles and everyone he'd kind of worked with over the years, and he did a character profile of Donald, which again wasn't very complimentary, and this is about his kind of spat with Donald Trump over the years and about Donald Trump running for president. So when this came out, Donald Trump wasn't president yet, so it's in the running to that and what he thinks about that whole situation. Having spent a lot of time with Donald Trump, going to Donald Trump's home, going to his business meetings, spending that period of time with him, it's sassy as hell. Let me just say that first. There's a lot of facts about how Donald Trump, his businesses have gone out of business, and Donald says, "I've never been bankrupt," but he has been helped out a lot and people bailing him out of a lot of situations, and Mark's talking about that. There's a great bit in it, which is my favourite bit, where Mark and Donald are exchanging letters, and Mark's put the letters in the book, and they are both as petty as each other. They won't let this go. There's one bit where Mark literally just sends him a box of plasters, and he's like, "You can't keep picking this scab, you can't seem to let go of it," meaning Mark's like bad like article on Donald Trump. So he's like, "Here's some band-aids that might help you with that." The sass though, and then Donald just writes it back over his letter like, "You're a loser," and just sends that to him, and it carries on and carries on. I really enjoyed this. I thought the middle bit got a little bit boring, but if you are interested in Donald Trump's life and how he's had to have a lot of bailouts and that, then that's what that is about. I wanted more at the end. I wanted this again to be longer, and I'm normally someone that's like, could have taken 100 pages out of that one. But this needed to be longer because I loved his commentary about the election. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and how Donald had been chosen as the Republican candidate and what Mark thought of that, and then how the media were responding to Donald Trump. And he was saying, at that time I didn't write any articles on Donald Trump, even though before I'd written a lot on him and I had a lot of things that I could have said about him. I wanted him to starve out of the limelight, and that was it. But he said the problem was all the newspapers and magazines kept making him the huge star of the election, and he got so much coverage from it, which I 100% agree. That's how Trump got so successful. Even though it was a lot of negative coverage, it was still publicity all the time in your face. And so Mark talks about that. I really wanted this to be longer. I want him to do another one. I wanted to do one like Trump the President, and I think it'd be fantastic. But like, this is sassy. There's a bit in it where Mark literally says Donald Trump does not have a soul. Goes into why Donald Trump doesn't have a soul, and everything is on the outside, and as long as everything looks good, so all the women he's with look beautiful, and his houses are filled with marble and gold and everything is beautiful, that's all he cares about in life, because he doesn't have a soul. It's too much. It's so much sass. So I think people would like it if they're into politics, but with a very satirical take on it. I loved it because I love the sass and just pure bitchiness of the whole entire book. Next up, I read a poetry collection by Pam Ayres. Pam Ayres was on British TV quite a lot. If you like Victoria Wood, you'll like Pam. So this is called Some More of Me Poetry, and it's a poetry collection that's heavily illustrated, and it's very difficult to describe her style. It's kind of this Yorkshire-esque woman, all like, oh me lass, I've been here and I've been there and we're down the pub, and it's that kind of thing. You either like it or you don't. It's very Marmite. I adored it. From start to finish, I just want to read everything Pam Ayres has ever done. I watched a lot of her TV appearances, so that's why I got this when I saw it in a charity shop. Love it, absolutely. Just, I love you, Pam. Next up, we have a non-fiction Tudor thing. What a surprise. It's not like I'm a massive Tudor fan or anything. This is by Pitkin Press. Love Pitkin Press. So what they basically do is heavily illustrated books on historical people, so Dickens, or this one is Life in Tudor England, and it talks about various different things. It reminds me of fact files or like PowerPoints. So one section is schools and scholars, the next is candles and books and crime and punishment, and it's just little bite-sized pieces into different times in history. I loved this one. I loved Tudor England. I love Anne Boleyn. She's not mentioned in this at all. It's not really about Henry VIII's wives, although it does reference, of course, Henry VIII. But I did find this incredibly interesting. Loved it. Then I read this one, which I'm so conflicted about. This is Above by Isla Morley, and I started this a really long time ago, and then I put it down because I hated the second half, and so I reread it. This is about a girl who's just kidnapped by a man who believes the end of the world is coming. So he keeps her in this underground basement, and the whole beginning of the book, well, like half of the book, is about her in this basement and the abuse that she has to suffer and has this man, and it is harrowing, and it is such a tender, sad story that will stick with you. I can sit and still think about this book. When I hold it, it actually makes me feel quite sick, because it brings back the emotions of anger that I felt, and I thought it was so tender, so beautifully written. It was stunning, about like being captured and kept and having to grow up in captivity. It was horrendous. The second half, however, is an absolute fantasy. Having said that, if this book had been two separate books, I would have liked both books and thought they were really good. But because it was together, and the first bit was so tender and beautiful, and then the second half was just a mess, and it was anxious, and if you read the book you'll know exactly what I mean. It's supposed to be like that. That is completely intentional of the author, but it was too much of a mess, and then that tenderness was completely lost, and you could feel like she was trying to get you to reconnect with the characters, but there was too much going on that I just didn't care. So the first half of this book, absolutely spectacular, one of the best things I've read this year. Second half of the book, don't even bother. So this is a really difficult book to review because I only liked half of it, but the half of it that I liked was pure genius, beautiful. Like, I can't even speak properly, like pure genius, beautiful. Isla Morley, get your act together, because the second half was bloody awful, girl. And then on to a much lighter book, as it's a children's book, and this is Tail Feathers from Mother Goose, the Opie rhyme book, and some of the money, if you buy this book, goes to charity. It's a very beautiful book. Each page is a different illustrator, so if you're interested in children's illustrations, then I would highly recommend you get this book. I didn't like many of the illustrations in it. There's actually only 5 that I've tabbed that I actually enjoyed. Quentin Blake is in it. That's why I got it, guys. We all know there's no need pretending. I don't think Quentin's doing his best work in this, to be honest with you. I didn't actually like his bit in it. It's all different rhymes, and they're all a bit nonsense, to be fair. Some of them are really beautiful, but the majority of them I found were nonsense. They were folk tale. No one really knows who wrote them, and I don't get with them. I'm not into made up words and made up languages. That's not my thing, but if it's yours, get it. But I would recommend buying it if you want to find new children's illustrators to love. Then this is a whole collection of that, so this would be a good kind of treasury for you to go into. This isn't really a book you can read to children, because some of them are really old-fashioned. They're actually quite violent. They're like, he punched her in the face, and one of them is about how to kill a pig, so it's all a bit like, whoa, it's a bit much for children. But as an adult, this is a really nice book to look at illustrators' art. I didn't love this, but I feel like it's because I am so set on the illustrators that I love and the art styles that I like that I'm not very open to change and really looking into the genre, because I've found people that I love in that genre. That's just me. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm an old little goose. I'm sorry about that. And that's it. That's the end of my September wrap up part 2. Part 1 will be linked down below. Tell me if you've read any of these books. Tell me what you think of the books. Also, do you have any good thriller recommendations? Because I really want to get into thriller genre. So tell me if you have any good thriller recommendations. I want to dive deep in that genre, and I will see you again tomorrow for another video. I hope you're enjoying Halloween. I'm actually loving doing it. So tell me if you're enjoying it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Dark creatures wait in the distance to dance in the masquerade. There's no escaping the alien fiction this time. This is